Hi, Tracy here with the Idea Closet and another video today with version 4 from the Silhouette Studio. We're doing this all week. I'm showing you some new techniques with our version 4 and version 4.1, and today we're going to actually work on this card. It's the birthday card with the cake, birthday card cake. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, we're going to open up our Silhouette Studio, and I have already brought the cake in, just so that a picture of the cake, so that we could kind of see what we're aiming for. Like I said in yesterday's video, I always like to draw a base of what my card is going to be. So we'll do that first. We're going to get the rectangle tool, and let me give you a little secret. If you just hit the R on your keyboard, it automatically turns your cursor into the rectangle. You can just click and drag. If you hit the V on your keyboard, it turns it into your selection tool. I'm going to go ahead and select my rectangle up here to the quick access and change the dimensions. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because I actually want a border behind this piece. So I'm going to do this at 4 inches by 5.25 inches. And I know that just because I've kind of played around with it. But I got those backwards, so we're going to do 5.25 by 4. There we go. We want that, the horizontal. All right, and I'm just going to kind of set that off to the side right there. Now I need to draw another rectangle to get my cake started. So I'm going to hit R on the keyboard and just draw a rectangle. And I'm not going to even measure it or anything. I'm just going to draw it like that. Get my selection tool. I'm going to open up my library, and I want a border shape, and I really like this cute scalloped border. I typed in scallop border up here in the search. It brought up all the scallop borders that I have in my library. I'm going to double click on this one. It's going to open up, and there we go. Now I want to bring this up my rectangle, and then I'm going to draw my rectangle so that it's about the same size as the scallop. Whoops, I wasn't supposed to drag it. I wanted to make it fit that scallop border. Whoa. There we go. Now I didn't do any measurements on this, so this cake may not look exactly like the cake on the card, but it's going to work. Once we have all of those, I'm going to go ahead and select both the rectangle and the scallop. Now you might notice that my selection boxes are a little bit different than yours. They have the dashed line around them. That is because Silhouette Business Edition, which I am using, now has the ability to export your images as an SVG. However, to save copyright, an image that you have got from the design store cannot be exported as an SVG. So when you click on it and the bounding box comes up, it will have these dash lines. That's just simply to tell you that you cannot save that as an SVG. So not a big deal. Don't freak out if it's a little bit different than yours. I'm going to just line this up just a little bit, make sure it's pretty close. There we go. Okay, I want to select both of these and group it. The easiest way to group I found is I right click and hit group. Now it's one image. I am going to shrink this down just a little bit because it's kind of bigger than I needed. And then I'm going to make a couple of copies. So I'm going to hit my control button and my arrow up button and make 3 copies of that. I'm going to make this one smaller, and then I'm going to make this one smaller, and I think I want this one to still be just a little bit smaller, and I'm going to put it down here so that they're just right on top of each other. Okay, now if I select all of those, Up here on my quick access bar is my align tool, and if I hit the little drop down menu, I have some different options to align. I just want to center them all like this. I'm going to select it, and it just moves all three of those so they're all lined up and ready to go. So now with those, I'm going to open up my warp window, which is right down here, or warp panel, excuse me, and open it up. If you are on basic, you will have just this warp. If you have designer edition or above, you will have the conical wrap, and that is something that we're going to use in a class or in a video at another time. So for right now, we're going to go to just the warp. I'm going to select all three of my cake shapes, and then where it says warp selected shape, I'm going to click on that. What will happen is I get these bars and dots that help me to be able to shape my cake. You can add columns over here. You can add divisions or rows, and you can add divisions. I actually really liked the way that it was, so I'm going to take it back to 3 and 1 and 1. Now all we're going to do is we're going to grab these little bars and just kind of pull until we get kind of the basic shape. And I started with the top. I'm going to kind of pull that one up. I'm going to pull this one down a little, kind of give it that rounded look. And you can refer to this picture if you want to. I'm also going to pull this out just a little bit. This next one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of pull this down just a little bit, pull this one up, and you can play around with this and do whatever you want. If I pull that in a little bit, pull that in a little bit. Now on the bottom, I want my cake flat, so I'm not going to do anything with these bottom pieces, but I am going to still do these. And I think I kind of did this. And as you can see, it just changes the shape of your cake as you drag these a line. Click off of it. That's kind of what my cake looks like. Similar to that, not exact, but pretty similar. Once I go ahead and click on it, it's going to take me right back to where the warp is. In order to be able to click it as shapes again, select it as shapes, I need to come over here and release the warp. If I didn't like what I did, I could restore it back to the original shape and then redo it, but I'm pleased with it, so I'm going to release the warp. Now, each one of these pieces is its own little separate piece. Even though I had originally grouped them, they're all their own separate piece. So what I'll do is, this is your optional step, and I talked about this in yesterday's video, is I like to fill my shapes in just so I can kind of get an idea of what they're going to look like. So I'm going to take my scalloped edges, select all of them. To select all of them, I held my shift key and clicked on each one, and then I'm going to fill with green. I'm going to click on this bottom one, fill it with blue, and if I remember, oh, there we go, click on this next one, fill it with yellow, and then click on this last one and fill it with red. Now I want to make sure that they're going to fit inside my card, so I'm just going to click everything and I'm going to group it. Right click and group. I'm going to drag it up into here. You will notice once again that I have the perforation marks around because I cannot save this as an SVG. The scallops are part of the Silhouette store. My cake is not, but those scallop pieces are. I'm going to go ahead and just drag this by hitting the corner and making it fit inside my card piece however I want it to do. I could make this as a horizontal card or a vertical card. The reason that I'm doing it this direction is because in tomorrow's video I'm going to show you how to make a pop-up, and the inside of this is going to be a pop-up. So I want it to run this direction. That is all there is to making a warped birthday card, birthday cake. Then if you wanted to add the candles, you can go ahead into your library and find some candles that you already have, or even draw your own. I hope you've enjoyed this short little video. I hope you'll practice around with the warp window and make some fun things. It's actually kind of a cool little thing, so let's see what you can do with it. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.